Hey, yo, welcome to another MMA Grind, UFC 308, post-fight, recap. Crazy. This card delivered, from top to bottom. Well, at least the main card definitely delivered. But I want to talk about the co-main event. Khamzat Chimaev came out like a wolf, you know what I mean? He hunted Robert Whittaker, took him down, mauled him, raped him immediately, and then ultimately crushed his jaw within 3 minutes into the fight and forced Robert Whittaker to tap due to an injury. But I had to break down a video. I knew for sure there was no way Robert Whittaker was stopping these takedowns. I said that, went back and forth with a couple people. Whittaker, yeah, he's a proven vet. He has great takedown defense, good get-ups, power in both hands. He was the guy who had all the experience and would challenge, and maybe probably the worst matchup for Khamzat in this division because of his experience, and he's been on a tear. He's only lost to two guys in the last 10 years. Well, and Khamzat, it was still a little unknown, the cardio, and there's still going to be that unknown about the cardio. We don't know yet. It's still, if he could go 5 rounds, it's still going to be the question, whatever. But at the same time, this was kind of like a calmer Khamzat all week, so that was one thing where I was kind of not sure exactly. I wasn't as confident with my pick. I think both the co-main and the main event were both kind of 50-50 fights. I picked Khamzat to win, and I picked ILIA to win. But at the same time, it was 50-50. This fight could go either way. I think the general consensus was if Robert Whittaker can make Khamzat work, maybe, get up a couple times, make him defend a couple takedowns and get into past the second round, it could start to turn the tide towards Robert Whittaker, the Reaper, and taking over this fight, because of Khamzat's gas tank issues that we think he has. We only seen him go 3 rounds, and yeah, he got tired, and, he puts on such an insane pace. It's kind of hard not to take a breather or slow down a little bit, especially when you're coming out. So this fight opened up. Robert Whittaker landed a couple leg kicks. We're talking in the first 15, 20 seconds, though. Khamzat shoots from halfway across the cage, really just flying through there at those legs, gets him down, and basically keeps him there, for the first couple of minutes of the round. Whittaker was able to almost get back to his feet, but that just shows next level Khamzat, he grabs the ankle, pulls it away, basically takes his legs out from under him, ends up right back on top, gets the higher position on his back, and Whittaker really just carrying Khamzat's weight. And Khamzat, one thing I did notice too is both of these fighters were very dry. I think if I was going to fight Khamzat, I would want to have a big sweat going into the fight, just because just to be a little more slippery, a little slicker, whatever. Both these guys were dry, and you always say if you go in cold, you go out cold. But not that Robert Whittaker went out cold, but always the grappler, or even a submission artist has a little bit of an advantage when everyone's dry. It's easier to get submissions, easier to grab a hold of someone and keep a hold of them. And Khamzat was able to just take advantage of that and stay on top, and really didn't do a lot of damage on top. There's a couple little hammer fists here and there, but basically just controlling the position, not really doing anything too crazy to lose the position. Not the most technical, just really good with the wrist control, though, taking Whittaker's base away and basically just mauling him and raping him, raping the Reaper. And so, then it comes to a point where I think it was maybe 2 minutes left in the round or so when, Whittaker's fighting to get up. Khamzat gets both hooks in. That was kind of the beginning of the end when he got the hooks in. And he rode him over, and it kind of was a face-down position. And then he put on what appeared to be a rear naked choke, maybe a slash or even a neck crank position. And that's what... Originally, when I was watching it, I thought it was a neck crank because Robert Whittaker tapped immediately. He could not tap fast enough. It was a 2-second type tap. As soon as the arms was locked, it was the choke position, he was tapping immediately. And I was thinking, that was a quick tappage. So I was thinking it was a neck crank, maybe you just had such a bad angle, and just the way, the weight was, and from Khamzat being on top, and Robert Whittaker carrying his weight on top of him, maybe that's why he tapped so fast. Or I wasn't sure what happened, but I thought it was kind of quick. Definitely wasn't under the chin. Thought maybe it was just a neck crank, but turns out, Khamzat basically crushed or dislocated, broke his jaw, like rearranged his jaw. Actually, like his teeth were just like pointing in. They showed a picture after the fight. You know, I think DC shared that picture that someone maybe it was Whitaker's coach or somebody shared with them, and it was just looked really bad. It looked crazy, like so bad where Whitaker's going to be eating out of a straw for a while. Like we don't know what's, you know, it's horrible. You know what I mean? Like his shit really just got rearranged right there. And Khamzat in the post fight said, you know, he heard or felt a crack when he squeezed, and I don't even think he really had to squeeze hard. Like when I look back at the replay, it kind of looked like, say, you know, like Robert Whitaker, because he kind of was face down. Like his jaw or mouth was basically up against Khamzat's wrist or forearm area, and the weight of Khamzat being on top of him, just all that weight, and then the squeeze on top of that just crushed his shit. You know, just like I said, rearranged his jaw and fucked that up. You know, and you know, I feel bad for Robert Whitaker because nobody wanted that for him. Everyone loves Robert Whitaker. Like I said, I'm a fan of him too, but I just felt with this matchup, nobody's stopping the way Khamzat, the energy and ferocity that he brings. He's not going to be stopped. You know, the takedowns are just ridiculous. Like he shot, like I said, from halfway across the cage and was able to get that takedown and finish it and stay on top and just dominate. And he made it look easy. And I mean, other than those 2 leg kicks at the opening, Whitaker didn't land shit on him. So took 0 damage. And yeah, Khamzat's back, and I can't be more excited. Yeah, so I'm gonna make a video tomorrow, probably about what's next for at least the top 3, the last 3 fights, maybe the whole main card, but for sure, I mean, this Khamzat could definitely, you know, jump over Sean Strickland over this type of performance and get the next title shot. I mean, who else does he need to fight? I mean, yeah, there's guys been waiting, but Khamzat's been waiting a long time, have injuries, sickness, battling all kinds of stuff. Been out for a while, but at the same time, it's like no one's ever done that to Whitaker. Whitaker, basically, I think with a win, would have got the next title shot after Strickland. We already seen the Strickland versus DDP fight. You know, it wasn't the most exciting fight. It was decent. It was entertaining, but it wasn't crazy exciting. And I think it'll be the exact same fight again. It was a close fight. Could have went either way. Strickland got a win against Costa, but I could see, you know, depending on how long Whitaker is out, then maybe Strickland, Whitaker. I don't know. Let me know what you guys think about who you think should be next. But I'm going to make a whole nother video on this shit anyway. But I'm thinking Khamzat, man. I want to see Khamzat fight DDP. I think that's the fight to make. And Khamzat, the wolf, is back, you know. You know, like he was saying afterwards, it's like a more calmer Khamzat, you know. He's not out here, I could have A1. He's not saying all that stuff like he was before. Doesn't have that crazy energy, but as soon as that cage is locked, like another thing I was noticing when they were just pacing and announcing the fighters, Khamzat did not take his eyes off Robert Whitaker the whole time. He was locked in. Robert Whitaker looked, you know, the Reaper looked locked in all week, crazy focus, like he was ready for war. And it just didn't happen, you know, because he just wasn't able to stop those takedowns. Like I said, that's what I thought was going to happen. I didn't think it was going to be that fast. I thought it'd be more of a fight on the feet for a while. So there's still going to be always some unanswered questions what comes out with that. But at the same time, it's like if you don't need to go 5 rounds, then who cares about cardio? Just go balls to the wall, go all out. And if you could take your guy out, take your opponent out in a round, then, hey, that's what you're going to do. So if you can't stop it, kind of like GSP back in the day, people would get pissed off because he would jab, and then shoot a double leg. But if you can't stop it, you want to call it boring or whatever, you can't stop it, then you can't complain about it. So, you know, everyone knows what Khamzat wants to do, and he's still pretty unstoppable with those takedowns. So, yeah, let me know what you guys think next for Khamzat. I mean, I'm going to make a video on that, like I said, but my case why he should be next in line for the title shot. Not next in line like behind Strickland, but actually just jumping over Strickland, you know. But I'll make a video about that. But I mean, how can you not be impressed with Khamzat with that? I mean, obviously it was a freak injury, freak accident, but was not trending well for the Reaper in there, and he pretty much got dominated, and it got made look easy. And Whitaker was on a tear, you know. He was on a upward trajectory back to a title shot. So yeah, that's all I got on the co-main event. Co-main, it was, like I said, it was a really fast, kind of a little disappointing just because how fast it went, but it's also very impressive what Khamzat was able to do out there. But that'll bring us to the main event of the evening. Ilia Topuria defending his bout against Max Holloway. Blessed. Man, this Ilia Topuria is something special. His boxing, like he did exactly what he said he was gonna do in this fight. And I made a video, and I didn't say got hate, but any little comment I got was, basically that Max Holloway was gonna win. That's gonna make Ilia look bad. And a lot of people were picking Max, even though Ilia was the odds-on favorite. A lot of people were picking Max, and this was another one that was a 50-50 fight. But my last video I made was Ilia Topuria is gonna destroy Max Holloway, but I mean, he didn't exactly destroy Max Holloway, but he was the first to knock out Max Holloway like he said he was going to be, and just proving how dangerous he is at any point in the fight. Because arguably, he might have lost both the first 2 rounds. It was either 1-1 or 2-0 Max, honestly, because first round was close. And it's just crazy. It's crazy, this rise. We haven't seen this since like a Conor McGregor, but we've never seen back-to-back featherweight goats, because there's Max and Volk are basically 1 and 2, and Aldo's like right there too, obviously had a 10-year reign, but both those guys beat him. And so I already talked about that. But at the same time, we got Max and Volk back-to-back goat knockouts by Ilia Topuria. I mean, it's unbelievable what this guy's doing, and with the confidence he has in doing it. He's calling his shot. He's Babe Ruthing that shit. He's calling his shot, and he's knocking it out of the park, and with just unbelievable technical ability and just a sure will too, and belief in himself. Because Max Holloway looked good, like he said, he looked good until he didn't. He was doing good in that fight. I mean, obviously the weight cut was an issue. That's what kind of made it more 50-50 for me in this fight, was because he is dropping back down to featherweight after putting on sides and going up to lightweight to fight Justin Gaethje. That was a kind of the asterisk for me, kind of like all right, I don't know. Is his chin going to be the same? Is he going to be able to take these shots? And I just don't think whatever weight it was, I don't want to make an excuse it was the weight cut, because I think no matter what weight it is, the precision and accuracy and just power and explosiveness, speed of Ilia Topuria and just timing, I don't think it matters at what weight, 145, 155, nobody's taking those clean-ass shots. Those were just perfectly timed and perfectly placed shots that put Max out. But, start of the fight, I mean, they were both very calm. That's, you can see Max was a little, he was typical Max, kind of out there. He's always ready for a war. Ilia looked very calm as a cucumber in there while they're announcing his name, everything, just kind of just chilling, shadow boxing a little bit. Like he was just ready to go, like, just super confident. And he did what he said, like he pointed to the ground, first seconds of the fight, walks up with his hands down, like, let's go right here. Do you want to come right here and meet me? And Max did the whole, like, El Matador type thing, like, the little, like you're holding whatever that shit's called, just a sheet blanket type thing, that they, I don't know, I got to do some research on that. What is that shit called? Anyone knows? But anyway, Max did that, like he's, being the Matador himself, like, so, yeah, and then Max came out with, like I said, he had a good game plan. He looked really good. He was making Ilia miss a lot. He was throwing a lot of leg kicks, a lot of just a kick-heavy attack, mixing it up to the body. Had a couple, like, teeps right away and a lot of head kicks. Because I think ever since Ilia got dropped by Jai Herbert at lightweight, that's kind of been like, okay, this is a blueprint to hurt this guy. Because he does, when he bobs and weaves and he's using his head movement, he does duck to his right a lot. So might leave him open to that head kick, right? So I think Volk tried a bunch of head kicks. Max was trying some head kicks just to test Ilia's defense, because he does duck down and he stays real low too. So even if you don't throw the highest kick, maybe it can land, But Ilia stayed pretty defensively sound and responsible for those high kicks. He did eat a lot of those. And then there's another thing Max threw was a lot of those like John Jones or Khalil Roundtree type kicks, like the knee stomp type things where you try to hyperextend the knee or on top of the thigh, and he landed them. He was effective. I don't like those kicks. To me, I don't like those oblique kicks and that stuff where you can just hyperextend the knees. It is within the rule set, so I get it. It's legal. He's not doing shit illegal, and it is a fight at the end of the day. But I just feel like those kicks are just an injury waiting to happen. I mean, just like what we saw what Khalil did when he fucking injured. I can't remember who the fighter was, but almost snapped his leg right there, So, I mean, when he kicked it, when he landed it, and Max was effective with it. He was throwing it over and over again. Like I said, he was a very kick-heavy attack and jabs, throwing a lot of jabs, and Ilia was just kind of stalking his prey pretty much the whole first 2 rounds, just kind of bobbing and weaving, trying to get inside, and he covers distance so quick, and he was able to take Max down, pick him up, and slam him. Like basically pick him up, not slam him super hard, but pick him up, got the takedown, made it look easy, up against the cage. And if anything, he wasn't able to hold Max down. Max got up, and then I think Matt returned him, took him back down again. He got credit for 2 takedowns, although it might have been 3, because there was another one that was iffy, like if it was a punch or not, or Max slipped, and then Ilya ended up on his back right before the end of the first round. So he didn't get credit for a takedown on that one, but it could have been a takedown or even whatever. Maybe it was just a slip. I don't know. They just didn't rule anything on that. But anyway, he made it look easy, was able to take him down really fast, but wasn't able to really control him down there. Max has very good get-ups. He was right up against the cage. He used the cage, smartly, and was able to get out. He's a wily vet. You're not just going to hold him down. But I think that was good for Ilya to just let just if you're up against a cage, like I don't have to just unload shots on you. I could freaking take you down as well and mix it up. So something else to think about. Maybe you'll lower your hands a little bit and open up that chin, open up top, and then it can land something big up top later, which kind of happened, but we'll get to that. But, yeah, so, I mean, the first round was close. I mean, you could have gave it to Ilya he had a takedown, which he didn't do much with, but he was landing harder shots, great leg kicks. Like, he was throwing a lot of leg kicks. You could tell Max's lead leg was getting a little compromised and damaged. He switched stances a couple times, and then when he would switch back to orthodox, he would get leg kicked again. And there's really not a lot of wind-up with Ilya. He does throw very hard with those leg kicks, too, but he throws through kind of like traditional Muay Thai, like kicks through the leg like a sweep type, just turns the hips and generates a lot of power. And you could tell it was damaging Max. But Max was doing a good job in trying to make him pay with those. Like every time, like not every single time, but he was trying to counter and throw right hands or, throw a left hook off that or even a jab, just kind of constantly staying busy. Like they were saying, the commentators, like that Max had already thrown like basically over 200 strikes. Like we're talking by the end of the second round. So, I mean, he was definitely busy. He was typical Max, trying to get that volume. And he had his moments. I mean, there was times where Max cracked Topuria with some, like, just big right hands. A couple left hooks, but elbow at one point, landed a vicious elbow on him that, kind of snapped Ilya's head back a little. But also just that he landed a couple right hands where you could tell it just kind of stopped Ilya in his tracks a little, like, just to stop him from moving forward so much because he was pressuring. He was hunting his prey from the opening bow, basically trying to just get in Max's face and get on the inside and land his combos. But Max did a good job of, like I said, just kind of circling out, not staying hung up on the cage for the most part, and making Ilya miss a lot as well, showing good head movement and just moving his feet. But I think the leg kicks of Ilya started to take a toll on Max because, like I said, he was switching stances here and there, and also he wasn't moving as much laterally late as the fight moved on. So maybe they were taking his toll a little bit, so he wasn't able to circle out as much or use as much movement. And it kind of made it more of like, okay, now we're standing in the pocket and just throwing bombs. And this was an action-packed fight from beginning to end. It was only like 2.5 rounds, but there was so much action because I was like taking pictures and trying to like, get some photos of like pausing it. And it was like, I couldn't even, these guys are so fast. It was like just so much was happening. And Ilya just jumping in and out, and both the guys just constantly throwing bombs. I think let me see what the final punch stats were on this fight, because they were both very busy. It wasn't just Max. I mean, Ilya he was throwing a lot of shots too as well, like, and very accurate. Ilya landed 75 out of 144 significant strikes with the one knockdown, and he got credit for 2 takedowns. But so 52% accuracy for Ilya Topuria. That's freaking high, especially against Max. Max is definitely hittable, but I mean, the way Ilya just kind of picks and chooses, he's not, he did miss a lot as well, it seemed, but when he landed those combos, he was landing, the leg kicks were pretty much landing at will. And Holloway was 79 out of 204. So, yeah, he did throw basically a little over 204 significant strikes, 38% accuracy. So that shows the head movement of Ilya and also just the in and out, like, footwork and to get in and out of range. So Holloway couldn't really land those big shots all the time, but Max was accurate as well. He did, like I said, he had his moments. He was landing some big jabs, some big right hands, and a lot of kicks, himself, a lot of leg kicks, body kicks. He mixes up his attack very well. But I say Ilia's defense and, just his head movement and also like in and out footwork just was making Max miss as well. So they're both, they both showed like how they could beat each other. Like Max did have the style to beat Ilya. Like you could tell, like it's that volume type style, but not many people could do it like Max, if anyone. So it's like, this was probably the best guy to beat Ilya at this point was Max, but he just could not take that power. And Ilya his power is just too, like I said, his boxing is just too crisp, too sharp, too accurate. And his power is just fucking next level when it comes to 145 pounds, just sleeping guys like this, knocking the fuck out. Like, that's what the third round came around. And like I said, you could kind of see Max slowing down a little bit as far as his movement. But, it was still such a close fight. Like I said, Max might have been up 2-0, might have been 1-1 entering that third round. And he opens the round with a couple more of those, like, kind of knee stomp type kicks, and landed it. And one actually buckled Ilya's leg back really bad. And I was like, oh, shit. And then threw another one right behind it. Like, he was throwing them like jabs almost, and he was pretty accurate with them. But then right after that, Ilya just landed. He kind of threw his left out there to make it look like a left hook, but he kind of just put it out there as a filler and kind of grabbed Max's right hand and then came over the top with that right hand that's the first punch that really rocked Max. There's a couple big shots that you could tell affected Max in the first round and the second round, but this was the third round. We're talking now the beginning of the end when he lands this big overhand right. And that's one thing Ilya was actually doing pretty well too, was like throwing a lead overhand rights that were landing, pretty well against Max, as well as a jab. He didn't go to the body as much as he normally does, but he did go a little bit to the body later in the second and third round. But after he hit him with that right hand, like that was almost like visibly, I never see Max that rocked where he just kind of crumbled backwards. The cage kind of might have kept him up, saved him a little bit. And he got hit almost in the middle of the cage, but basically in the middle of the octagon, but basically just got knocked all the way back to the cage. And that's one place that I was saying you do not want to be against Ilia Topuria, as you're back against a cage with nowhere to go, left or right, but nowhere but backwards. And Max just tried to cover up, and Ilia just unloaded like a fucking fast as fuck, like crazy-ass combo on him. 10, 15, 20 punches, just like that. I don't even know how many punches it was, but it was super quick to the body, head, just mixing it up. And Max was able to get out of there, circle out to his left, and then Ilia just kind of walked him down. Didn't really cut off the cage too crazy. Didn't get all overzealous with it. He unleashed that combo real quick, just with like blazing speed. But then he just kind of like sidestepped a little, followed him, got Max back into backing up into the angle that he wanted, where Max was backing up back towards the cage, and he just unleashed another combo and like a right hand to the body, I believe it was, and then just came over the top with that left hook that just devastated Max Holloway and just dropped him. It was like an ear wiggler. It just, Max ear wiggled, he dropped, and just a couple hammer fist ground and pound shots to finish the fight, and the referee had no choice but to stop the fight. Max got dropped, and that was actually the first time he never got credited getting dropped against Justin Gaethje, even though, technically he did, but this was like he was really rocked in this one, and he got knocked out. He got knocked the fuck out, and it was bad. He wasn't knocked out cold, but it still was. I hated to see that side of Max. Everybody loves Max. I love Max. Like I said, I was part of me is rooting for Max, but at the same time, I do like Topuria. I like his style of fighting. I like what he's bringing to the table. I like that confidence, that aura around him, like where it's fucking. I was on the edge of my seat that whole fight. It was crazy. It was just like anything could happen anytime. Topuria could just explode in one of these combos and just end this fight at any time. Didn't really see that with Max. So although it was very competitive, Max might even been up, I still felt like it was like just a matter of time before Topuria was able to land something huge that's going to just put Max away. And exactly what happened, man. This guy is just fucking next level when it comes to everything. We haven't even really seen. He has more submissions than he has knockouts. All we've been seeing lately is knockouts. But so I'm anxious to see that if he has to dig into that, to get that tool out of his box to see if, get some submissions at the higher level. So that'll leave us to what's next. I mean, like I said, I'll make a video on this, but obviously it's either like Volkanovski or Diego Lopez. Volk goes into the cage right after to, stake his claim, like let everybody know I'm next. That was smart of him. Diego Lopez should have did the same thing. He should have jumped in there. Him and Volk kind of like, whatever. Maybe they got to fight it out. Like, so I have my theory too, who I think is going to be next. And like I said, I'll talk about that later. Like, I don't think Volk should just, obviously he deserves it, but it might not be the smartest thing for him to go be next. And just, if he loses that fight, then now he's not going to get another title shot. So I feel like maybe let Diego Lopez test, let that guy do it, and maybe Volk could recover a little more or take a tune-up fight, whatever. I mean, I don't know. He's pretty much cleared out the division himself, so it's kind of tough even for that. But maybe a fun fight for Volk, or just take some time off. Who knows? But we'll see what happens with that. Diego Lopez was the backup for this fight. I believe he made weight. He had a little quick training camp because he just fought at the Sphere. But so it's kind of like, he was already kind of the backup for this fight. Volk wasn't, so maybe he should be next in line, but I don't know. Like I said, we'll talk about that later. But, man, ILIA Topuria keeps surprising and shocking people. Like I said, this was a 50-50 fight. I went 3-0 in my picks, but this one's bittersweet, man, because I don't like to see Robert Whittaker obviously get injured like that. And I didn't want to see Max Holloway on his ass getting knocked out. Even though I predicted it, it's one of those things you still don't want to see. Like, I would have liked to see ILIA take him down and maybe tap him and just, okay, he tapped him, but he didn't knock him out. But the legendary chin of Max did not hold up, and maybe it was a weight cut, maybe 145. Maybe it's, like he talked about in the post-fight, go back up to 155, fill out a little bit, have a little more power there. But like I said, that'll be another video. But, let me know what you guys think of ILIA. Where is this going to rank him? I mean, that's back-to-back GOATs, back-to-back knockouts, impressive. I would say dominant. It was dominant. Like it was a close fight, but you could kind of get the sense that every time ILIA threw, it was like, oh, shit, oh, shit, oh, shit, oh, shit. Like, like, Max, get out of there. Like, get out of there, Rock. Like, just what's going to happen. Like, anytime he was throwing with heat. And he was throwing a lot of power. He wasn't even breathing hard at the end of the fight. He had a little cup of tea moment right after, just walked away. Showed a lot of respect to Max afterwards, some kind words after, just saying how he's a legend and he always looked up to him. And, that's good to see that. I like to see the sportsmanship. Max always been a sportsman, so ILIA was talking crap, but at the same time, he's trying to build the fight. He's trying to build himself up, and some guys need that, to be like, I am the best, I'm going to fuck you up, whatever, just to be like, to believe in yourself more, whatever it is. But, hats off to Max. Great performance up until the knockout. He was doing good. I mean, up until the first 2 rounds for sure, and the first 30 seconds, 40 seconds of that third round, I mean, Max he had a good game plan, throwing, staying away. He was eating too many leg kicks. I think maybe check some leg kicks here and there would benefit him, or even just not be there, because these guys were so close to each other the whole time. And ILIA did a good job of just staying small, like he was shorter, 5'7" to 5'11", but same reach, but he was able to make a smaller target with the head movement, ducking down and staying away, stepping back out of range and then jumping right back into range and just kind of just changing it up. And Max, he was landing a lot too, but it just shows he was 38% accurate. He was doing the volume thing, but Topuria was doing the power and speed thing. And, man, I don't see anyone beating this guy for a long time, for a while. Maybe Diego Lopez, but he's a little wild. I mean, that's future matchup, but we'll see, man. But, yeah, congrats to ILIA Topuria. Amazing fight. Great card. I mean, I didn't watch the whole, prelims and all that. I was at work, so I ended up watching the main card. Shara Bullet did his thing. Magomed, who I picked to win, did his thing. And it wasn't the most impressive fight, but he got his win. And, I'll probably talk about that, too, as far as future matchups for him. And is he going to be next for Alex Bahia? And what's up? I think he's undeniable at this point. But, that's all I got. Let me know what you guys think. Like, subscribe. Check me in the comments, man. I like going back and forth. When you guys come out there and comment, I'm just coming with all love, man, and facts of what I believe, but I never come out with any derogatory. I don't talk shit back. Because none of this is like I said, this fight was 50-50. Both these fights were 50-50. A guy who I think is going to win, but we never know. This is a crazy sport, so we never know what's going to happen. Like, who would have thought Robert Whittaker's going to get injured like that? It's just a crushed freaking jaw. So, I mean, same thing with this one. A lot of people, like, they thought for sure ILIA had that, he could knock out Max, but he said he was going to do it. He went out there and did it. So, I mean, you got to give props for that. And he's undeniable now. 16-0, 14 finishes. I mean, unbelievable. And the guy, like, shit, Josh Emmett, that just shows how tough Josh Emmett is to be able to eat some of those shots. And also because he has that big power himself. So, that ILIA was able to – ILIA showed he had a good chin too, because Max landed some big shots, and ILIA just kept coming forward and bobbing and weaving and trying to just close that distance. And unbelievable performance, man. Just super impressive. And yeah, he's got to be in that conversation soon. A couple more defenses, and he's going to be right there. Blood, yeah, that's all I got.